SingularityNET positions itself as the future of benevolent artificial intelligence. They preach ethics and transparency, but deep within their engineering department, they are harboring a man with a documented history of violence, financial fraud, and ties to a dark underworld of human trafficking and sexual exploitation. They have hired a man convicted of a brutal killing, a man who scams crypto communities and then vanishes, a man whose closest business partner runs a syndicate recently sentenced for trafficking children. His name is Robin Dey, and he is currently embedding himself deep within SingularityNET. To understand who is building SingularityNET's technology and business, you have to look at the rap sheet. This isn't just a past mistake. This was a slaughter. In 2007, Robin Dey and his accomplice Simon Kell went to the home of a man named Tyrone Shepard. They didn't go to talk. They went prepared for extreme violence, armed with a baseball bat and a hunting knife. According to the Supreme Court of Victoria, they climbed over a gate to corner their unarmed victim. What followed was a savage, premeditated attack. Shepard was beaten with the bat and stabbed repeatedly. The autopsy revealed the horror. A stab wound to the back that punctured through his lung. A massive butchering wound to his leg that cut down to the bone, severing nerves and arteries. But it's what Robin Dey did after the attack that reveals his true character. As the victim lay bleeding to death in a driveway, Dey didn't call for help. He fled. He went home, hid the murder weapons, showered to wash off the victim's blood, and ditched his clothes. He then instructed witnesses to lie and provide a false alibi. The judge cited the viciousness of the attack and their willingness to leave a man to die, sentencing Dey to 10 years in prison for the killing. Prison didn't rehabilitate Robin Dey, it just introduced him to a new way of operating. Upon his release, he reunited with his childhood best friend, Scott Schulz. Together they launched a global crime spree. It started in Australia with the New Dawn Fund. When the Australian Securities and Investments Commission, ASIC, issued a final stop order for misleading investors, they didn't comply. They ran. They moved to Thailand and launched the Malta Digital Exchange, MDX. They lured investors in by claiming a confirmed partnership with the Malta Stock Exchange. It was a complete lie. The partnership never existed. They raised $1 million in seed money from investors around the world, then secretly diluted the shares by 97%, effectively stealing the entire company and the funds along with it. When caught, they fled to India to launch HempCorp, fabricating press releases about 10,000 acres of farmland that didn't exist. After their HempCorp scam failed, they launched Lendefi, a crypto protocol where Schulz eventually took over as CEO. After investors found out Dey was a convicted killer, they scammed another $1 million in capital from global investors, made false promises of development, and then abandoned the project. The official Telegram channel was left to rot. The team vanished. Users from across the globe were left with empty wallets. This isn't just a string of bad luck. It is a calculated global enterprise of theft run by Dey and Schulz. But financial fraud is not the darkest part of this story. You need to know who Robin Dey's partner really is. Scott Schulz is a founding member and acting CFO of the Nightwish Group in Pattaya, Thailand. Recent investigative reports have exposed the Nightwish Group as a front for a British-run sex-for-sale syndicate. Associates of this very group were recently sentenced to 21 years in prison for sex trafficking a 16-year-old girl. Reports detail how underage girls were snapped up by insiders. Schulz and Dey have been accused of offering freshly exploited Thai girls to associates before selling them to the general public. This is the network Robin Dey lives in. These are his partners, killers, scammers, and child traffickers. And what happens when an investor asks for their money back? When one early investor discovered the MDX fraud, Dey launched a scorched earth campaign. He didn't just refuse a refund, he threatened to destroy the investor's life. We have the logs. Dey threatened to frame the investor and have him thrown in Bangkok prison. He demanded a ransom in Bitcoin to make the problem go away. He harassed the investor's family. He threatened their business partners. In India, during the HempCorp scam, they posed as cultivation experts to infiltrate an investor's family, attempting to drain the father's life savings while Schulz solicited teenagers for sex. When their host discovered their criminal past and confronted them, Dey retaliated by emailing the man's entire professional network, falsely claiming his victim was addicted to crack cocaine. He burns reputations to the ground just to keep his scam running. And that leads us to today. Robin Dey has returned to Thailand, operating out of Chiang Mai under a new company, VBRL. Look closely. It has virtually no following, no proven technology, and yet, sources indicate that SingularityNET is partnered with this operation to build its core technology. Dey is using AI tools to pretend he is an expert, generating code and jargon to keep the money flowing while he delivers nothing but smoke. He is draining the SingularityNET treasury, just like he drained New Dawn, MDX, and Lendefi. Warning to all SingularityNET investors. You are in immediate danger. Does Ben Goertzel know who he has hired? Did Janet Adams do her due diligence? Because if they simply checked the background of the man building their core technology, they would have found a conviction for a brutal killing. They would have found the Australian Securities and Investments Commission stop orders. They would have found extortion threats. They would have found ties to a human trafficking syndicate. They would have seen the undeniable map of a global predator, a web of defrauded investors and ruined lives that stretches from Australia to India, and now, directly to you. By giving Robin Dey access to your core technology, the back door is open. A man who has rug-pulled every project he has ever touched now has the keys to the kingdom. Your funds are not safe. Your data is not safe. The code is likely compromised. And with the upcoming Superintelligence Alliance, this contagion now threatens Fetch.ai and Ocean Protocol as well. The rot is spreading. SingularityNET, the truth is now public. Please explain to the world why a convicted killer and child sex trafficking accomplice is developing your benevolent AI.